Hi guys, Colesy, and today I want to talk to you about PCs, about why you might not need a GPU, at least to begin with in your PC. So it is known that it is difficult at the minute to get hold of a GPU for a reasonable price. There's a shortage on the chips which are used to make the GPUs, and therefore there's a shortage on GPUs, or they're being priced by scalpers for crazy insane prices that these GPUs aren't worth. However, if you're looking to get into PC gaming and get yourself a gaming PC, I might have some suggestions. Actually, I do have some suggestions. They might be useful. This kind of idea for the video sprung from the fact that I recently bought a new laptop. It's nothing special. It's just a HP sort of laptop. It wasn't bought with the intention of gaming or anything really like that. It's just a general laptop for use for everyone in the house, so my daughter can use it for homework and my girlfriend can use it for if she needs a computer and stuff. It has a Ryzen 5 processor, but it doesn't have a GPU. But like I said, I wasn't intending it to be used for gaming. I've heard many good things about the Ryzen APUs, the Vega integrated graphics that come with some Ryzen CPUs. I've heard very good things about them, but I haven't before had the chance to really test it out and try it out. So I figured it's the perfect opportunity for me to have a go at gaming on something that doesn't have a dedicated graphics card, that is using just the integrated graphics. Now, really, the last time I had anything to do with integrated graphics was many years ago when I had an Intel laptop, which would have had whatever Intel dedicated graphics that came with. Not great. It didn't run games very well. However, with these new Ryzen CPUs with the integrated Vega graphics, they can actually run some games pretty well. Like, they're easily playable. I remember playing things that would skip and lag and just be horrible to play, but it was your only option. Whereas now, these things are available for a lot cheaper price and you can game on them. I did a couple tests on my laptop, which obviously is different to a desktop PC. You're not going to get the cooling with a laptop and stuff like that. It's all been crammed into a very small case because it's a portable laptop. But I think it's a good starting point. So I played some Fortnite and I played some Minecraft, and I got some like FPSs for those, which I can show you on screen now. They both ran and played fairly comfortably. I'm going to be honest, like, I was able to play those games and I didn't notice any issues. Like, they were totally playable, which to me was surprising because, like I said, last time I ever used any sort of integrated graphics, it was a hot mess. So I have trawled through some of Fierce PC's inventory and I have come up with a number of different PCs for a bunch of different prices. They're all fairly, what I would consider, cheap PCs that are running Vega graphics with a Ryzen CPU. It's not going to be able to play everything. I tried to play Call of Duty Warzone as a really big test for the laptop. It crashed twice and it just would not load into a game. It wouldn't work. Don't expect to be able to play literally everything with these PCs, but I think it's a good place to start from. You can get into it if you're just getting into PC gaming. You can play a couple games. You know, Fortnite, obviously very popular. Minecraft, again, hugely popular games. Stuff like esports titles like CSGO or League of Legends and stuff, that's going to run completely fine on these PCs as well. But here's the thing. I'm recommending desktop PCs because, yes, I do believe that having a GPU, a dedicated graphics card in your PC is the best if you're going to be gaming. That's what it's for. You need it to really run these much more complicated games. But you can always add a graphics card after the fact to these desktops. Obviously, I can't do that with my laptop. With these PCs, you can add a graphics card after the fact. So if you find a decent second-hand one, if you're trying to save money, or you're just going to wait until you get a good deal on a graphics card, in my opinion, these are good PCs to do that with. You have a reasonably cheap priced PC to start with that you will be able to game on. You will be able to play games and do some PC gaming on it, and then in future you can add a graphics card and then it'll just step up the gaming ability of that PC to another level. Let's start off here, shall we? We're going to start on the Fierce PC website. I also have some on Amazon if you would rather purchase from Amazon than Fierce PC's own website. Obviously, if you do purchase from the Fierce PC website, if you could use code Colesy, I would massively appreciate that. It helps support me. But all links to all of these, even the Amazon ones, will be in the description, so you can check them out. First of all, we have an AMD Ryzen 3 3000 customizer. Now, these are completely customizable PCs that are available on Fierce PC. This is just the specification that I have come up with myself. I mean, it's up to you what case you go for, but I just chose the cheapest to keep the price even lower. We've gone with a Ryzen 3 3200G quad core, stock cooler, 16 gig of RAM. here's another thing, right? Just because these PCs are cheap and they don't have a graphics card, I'm not trying to skimp and make a rubbish PC. I'm still trying to make a really good PC that if you just add a graphics card to, it's a really, really good PC. So I want to make sure that if I can, that these PCs are ready for gaming, and I would recommend 16 gig of RAM if you can afford to pay that rather than 8. 8 is really the minimum, 16 is what I would recommend. This also has a 240 gig M.2 SSD. For speed of loading Windows 10, you can also stick a couple games on it so they'll load quicker. Terabyte hard drive for more storage because SSDs tend to be more expensive and hard drives are cheaper, so I tend to like having the two. If you can afford just to go for a really big SSD, fair enough, go for that. A suitable motherboard, Asus Prime A320MK motherboard, just a suitable motherboard that fits the CPU, and obviously all of these have the PCI Express slot ready for a graphics card to be put in. Game Max 650 80 plus bronze wired power supply. I always take the Windows 10 operating system off of these PCs because it does save you a bit of money, and it will still come installed with a trial version, which is basically exactly the same. But if you do after the fact want to activate that trial version, you can find keys online fairly cheaply, and obviously we have the 3-year protect warranty from PSPC as standard. So that's what this looks like. I've chosen the 3200G over the 3100. I'm not entirely sure whether the 3100 comes with a built-in graphics. Some CPUs don't, I know that, and I didn't bother looking into it because I think the 3200G really that's cheap enough. Like, you don't want to say, if you go any lower, then I feel like adding a GPU, you're going to have a huge bottleneck with that, whereas at least with the 3200G, you should be slightly better off. Cooling wise, I kept the stock cooler. It's not that much more to add a tower cooler if you want something like that. Again, motherboard wise, to me, it doesn't really matter what motherboard as long as it is compatible, and PSPC always make sure that it is compatible, so I just went for the cheapest one. But if there's a particular reason that you want to get one of these more higher end, more expensive ones, then you know, that's completely up to you and you go for it. Power supply, something I briefly should mention. In terms of power supply, I've gone for the 650 watt. Now I could save another £18 and go for the 400 watt. Here's a couple reasons why I chose not to go with that. For starters, this Game Max one is a 80 plus bronze, so that is better. Obviously, if you want to go higher, you can go for like 80 plus gold and stuff like that down here, but I feel like an 80 plus bronze is really where you want to be, so I'd rather have that over the 400 watt. Also, 650 watt gives you a bit of extra room in future for adding a graphics card. It has that extra power that you're going to need for a graphics card, depending on which graphics card you get. But I do have a graph that I will show you briefly that roughly estimates what kind of power you'll need for each graphics card, depending on the model of graphics card you choose. That's the first PC suggestion that I have, but I will go through the next one a little bit quicker because I've sort of gone through the main stuff here. Right, next up, very similar to the AMD Ryzen 3 3000 customizer we had, we've got the AMD Ryzen 5 3000 customizer. So again, very similar. It's a completely customizable PC. In this case, it's a Ryzen 5 instead of a Ryzen 3, and the price is going up a little bit from, what was the last one, 436 to 572. It's a significant jump in price, but really very much of this is the same. Let's have a look quickly at the full spec. We've gone for the Ryzen 5 3600. It's an improvement over the Ryzen 3. That's just how it works. In this case, it's not cheaper to get the other one. The other one is actually, the other CPU that you could pick is actually more expensive, but I don't feel like that's necessary because it's already a hex core and it's already going to be perfectly good enough. So we're going with the Ryzen 5 3600. Again, in terms of cooling, I've left with the stock cooler. Up to you whether you want to add another one. GPU we didn't have. Gone for the same RAM again, 16 gig, makes sense. 240 gig M.2 SSD. I believe we've added a hard drive, 1 terabyte hard drive on here. The motherboard is better than the previous one. It's an Asus Prime P450 Plus motherboard. It's got I think it's got an extra PCI Express slot. Seems to be an ATX size motherboard, just looking at it. I haven't really looked into it, but it seems to be a bigger size, but that doesn't matter because, you know, the PSPC website always makes sure that your case is suitable for all the parts you're picking, and the parts are all going to work together. So if they didn't work, it would tell me, and it hasn't, so we're all good. Again, we're going for the 650 bronze power supply. I did add a wireless adapter because, I mean, that's up to you, but for this one I added a wireless adapter, but it only saved you like £5 taking it off. But depending on whether you're going to use a wired connection or a wireless connection, completely up to you. But I would recommend going for a wireless adapter, probably over a USB one, just for ease, and the fact that it's internal rather than external. There's another option, the Ryzen 5 3000 customizer. Like I said, links will be in the description, but for these customizer ones, you'll have to like customize the specification to match what I'm doing here. This one I can go over really, really quickly. It's the same PC as the first one we looked at, the Ryzen 3 3000, but this is a bundle. So if you're completely new to PC gaming, you don't have a monitor, you don't have a TV that you want to plug it into, you need a keyboard and mouse and stuff, it's that same PC, except we are bundling it with monitor, keyboard, etc. So it's the whole bunch all ready to go. So it's an entire PC bundle for £625.95p. You're getting a headset, you're getting a keyboard, you're getting the monitor and everything with it. Up to you whether you want to do that. I added this in. I know there are a few people out there that have completely nothing and they want to get into PC gaming from a start. So while we're here, as I mentioned, I do have I did a little bit of research to find what kind of recommended power supply you would need for different GPUs. This website, I don't know how reliable it is, but to me it seems to have its information pretty solid. I'll leave a link in the description to this, but briefly it just tells you a list of GPUs and then the recommended wattage of your power supply if you're going to use that GPU. For example, like I said, we've been adding the 650, which really gives you the option of something all the way up to like a 3070 Ti, or you can go back to something like a 2070 Super or a 2080. Like I said, I'll leave a link to this so you can double check if you find a GPU that you're looking at, whether you have enough, whether your power supply is powerful enough to run that, basically. As I said, the PCs we just looked at were on FirstPC's website. FirstPC do also sell PCs through Amazon, and I know Amazon is a very popular website and a lot of people like using it, including myself. So maybe if you want to go for Amazon rather than through the website specifically, completely up to you. I have some recommendations from the FirstPC Amazon page. Some of these are cheaper options than the ones we saw on FirstPC, but you will see the reasons why. So this is the cheapest, the absolute cheapest Vega 8 integrated graphics PC that I could find, basically. This is as cheap as you can go, really. So this is the PC on its own, not bundled with a monitor or anything like that. Ryzen 3 3200G, the same one we used in the first PC build. 8 gig of RAM. Again, like I said, I recommend 16, but 8 is really the minimum. Terabyte hard drive, and Windows 10 compatible, which I believe, does that mean it comes with Windows 10? That seems a weird thing to say, but I'm not sure. Compatible seems a weird thing to say, but like I said, it's going to be a trial version anyway. Like, if it's not the full Windows 10 version, it'll be the trial version, which doesn't restrict you anyway. So this is only £400, $399.95. So the difference between this and the first PC that I built on the website, you're not getting the 16 gig of RAM. You're also not getting an SSD. That's where the difference comes from. Also, I'm not entirely sure what power supply this is. Maybe if I scroll down, it'll tell me the power supply, but obviously you don't have the choice. 450 watts. So in this situation, you're getting a much less powerful power supply, but you don't have the customization options here that you do on the FirstPC website, which is why I sort of recommend to go there and use code Colesy to help support your favorite creator, me. If this is an option that you're looking at, it's still going to be a solid PC. You can still add a graphics card after the fact. You're just going to have to be a little more careful about which graphics card you add and double check that the power supply is going to be enough for that graphics card. Also, you only have 8 gig of RAM, which is not ideal, but not terrible, and you're not going to have an SSD, which is really going to help with speeding things up. Like if you install Windows on it, it really does help to speed up the boot up time, and if you install a game on it, you'll notice that it does load significantly faster than a hard drive. There is an option here for 16 gig, so you could go for that option, £444, so you are getting the more RAM, still not getting the SSD, and I don't believe that the power supply is probably going to have changed. It's still going to be a 450 watt power supply. Here is the next FirstPC option that we have, Ryzen 5 3400G, which is not quite as good as the Ryzen 5 I recommended from the website. I think that was a 3600. It has Vega 11 graphics. I should mention the Vega graphics that I have on the laptop that I showed you on my laptop that I did the testing on was Vega 8. Vega 11 is better than Vega 8. This would actually technically be better performance than what I showed you with my own testing on the laptop. And again, the cooling is going to be better and stuff with a desktop PC than it is with the laptop. But I just gave you those tests and those FPSs for Minecraft and Fortnite as just sort of a rough basically to show you that it does work and they are playable. It's got 8 gig of RAM and it's got a terabyte hard drive, and it does say Windows 10 installed. So you're definitely going to get Windows 10 with this one because it definitely says it. I guess the last one maybe didn't come with Windows 10. Again, with this one, unfortunately, it is only 8 gig of RAM. You can add another 8 gig. That's totally possible. You can do that after the fact. So again, if you're looking to save money right now, but improve it in future, maybe this is the option for you. Add another 8 gig of RAM down the line, maybe add an SSD down the line, and of course, add a graphics card down the line for more gaming PC power. Again, still a 450 watt power supply here. So again, you're going to have to double check and make sure that the graphics card that you do choose when you choose to upgrade and add a graphics card is suitable for this PC. Another option there, $429.90. I think, again, definitely something great to start with and can definitely be upgraded to be something really, really good in future. This is the last Fierce PC that I have to show you on Amazon. The model here that I'm recommending is the Ryzen 3 3200G Vega 8 graphics with 16 gig of RAM, 240 gig solid state drive, and a terabyte hard drive. Windows 10 compatible. Again, I'm assuming that means doesn't come with an activated copy, but it will come with a trial version, which again is fine. But this time we're getting the 16 gig of RAM, solid, getting the SSD, awesome, and you're getting a hard drive as well for bulk storage and more storage of games and stuff. So overall, a really good PC. And again, all that you'd really need to add to this to make it even better is adding a GPU down the line. If you can find one, or if you're saving for one, you can get started and play some PC games with just this, because the Vega 8 graphics that are built into the CPU is good enough to run some games. Yes, you might have to dial back the graphics and run it on lowest graphics. You're going to be able to play like CSGO, Rocket League, I imagine is fine. And like I said, Fortnite, Minecraft, both ran fine on my laptop. In terms of power supply, let's just double check it. 500 watt power supply, actually slightly more than the 450 that we've been used to, but there we go. Still not quite as much as the ones that I built on Fierce PC, but again, these are not as customizable. You can't change them at all because they're already like made products that are listed on Amazon. So the Fierce PC website gives you a bit more customization. I would recommend going there and using code Colesy, but if for some reason you do specifically want to buy it from Amazon, then these PCs are what I recommend. All the links, like I said, to all of the PCs will be in the description. Just something that I figured I should mention, because I'm talking about these power supplies not particularly being as big. If you were to buy one of these PCs with the 450 or the 500 watt power supply, and if you were looking to add a graphics card that maybe needed more power than that, then looking at the prices of some power supplies on Amazon, this EVGA 600 watt or this Aerocool 700 watt, these were kind of like the cheapest decent power supplies that I could find. They're an extra, £35 roughly, £40. So just bear that in mind when you're buying one of these PCs. Is it worth it to go maybe for a PC on the Fierce PC website that I recommended and spend a little bit extra money to get a power supply that you probably won't need to change if you're going to add a fairly good GPU after the fact? There are plenty of videos around on YouTube. If you search them, I have one here that will give you sort of gameplay and FPSs of games, of a whole bunch of games. They do loads of different games. This video in particular seems to be a good one if you're looking at the Ryzen 5 3400G and Vega 11. If you want to look at how sort of similar performing systems play a certain game, maybe if you're looking to see how it performs in like GTA 5 specifically, there will be videos out there on YouTube that you can look up. You can just search like 3200G Vega 8 GTA 5, and I'm sure that there'll be a video out there that shows you how this particular spec PC will run that specific game. Like I said, I've done a couple tests myself, but I have looked at these videos a bunch to be able to find and pick PCs and specs of PCs that I can recommend to you guys as being good gaming PCs, but they don't have GPUs. This video shows you that you can still buy a PC and still get into PC gaming without having to buy the graphics card right this second. It's something you can add in future, and you can still buy a PC and it be gaming capable now, even without a GPU. And that's thanks to these awesome AMD Ryzen CPUs, really, and their integrated graphics. They are, like I said, they're such a big improvement on the last time that I ever had to deal with integrated graphics on any sort of like computer, whether it be a laptop or a desktop. I hope this video has been somewhat helpful. I know it's a little bit rambly and I'm just trying to sort of explain these PCs to you. If you do have any questions, please do let me know in the comments. You can also get in touch with me by message on Instagram or by Twitter. Both of those are at Colesy Gaming. I'm always happy to help somebody. If you have a specific budget that you're looking to get the best PC for that budget, I'm always happy to help. So please do get in touch. Links to everything that I've shown in this video will be in the description. Like I said, if you're doing one of the custom PCs from Fierce PC on the website, then you will have to copy the spec that I mentioned in the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.